Hi everyone, and welcome to the Bridging the Comms Gap between Frontline and HQ webinar. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's an absolute pleasure to see you all, and we're excited to bring this topic to you. Before we get started, just a little bit of housekeeping. We'll be placing everyone on mute for the duration of the webinar, just to minimize any noise and to make sure that you can hear us really clearly. That being said, we absolutely welcome your questions, your comments, and your thoughts, and we would love to hear from you. So please drop your questions in the Q&A section in Zoom, and we will come back to them at the end. We do have a little bit of time dedicated for Q&A at the end. By way of introduction, for those who don't know me, my name is Kate Cross, and I am an experienced director here at Enablo. I am super passionate about helping my clients to build community and culture through the best technology and really creating that ultimate employer experience for you and your people. To me, bringing your whole self to work and allowing for that psychological safety is really important, not only for you to do your best work, but also for you to bring the best to your teams and therefore your organizations as well. I have three wonderful people joining me today, people and transformation experts who are reaching the unreachable in times of uncertainty and delivering the best possible employee experience through workplace communications platform, Workplace by Meta. Welcome, everyone. As an elite global workplace partner, we're really proud to have launched more than 170 organizations. We're proud to have over 500,000 worldwide users, and we are really proud to have an average adoption rate of 85%. So without further ado, it gives me great pleasure to introduce the three amazing individuals here with me today who are really using this technology for better frontline experiences. My first speaker is Natalia, and Natalia, give everyone a wave, who is the General Manager of People and Transformation at Freedom Australia and New Zealand. I also have the wonderful Nicole Truman, Head of People, Culture and Workplace Health and Safety at Harris Farm Markets, and the amazing Jess Krukidis, who is Partnerships and Community Manager at Minor DKL Food Group. You will know them as the parent company of the Coffee Club. Guys, thank you so much for joining me today. We really, really appreciate it and can't wait to hear from you. So, Natalia, you're up first. Welcome to the virtual stage. Now, I know, Natalia, that in your role, you've looked after change transformation from a holistic business perspective. And now you're looking to focus on the best employee experience in order to drive that. What have you set out to achieve? How's your journey been so far? And what's your biggest milestone on that journey, would you say?
Thanks, Kate. Firstly, thanks for having me. Really appreciate it. And it's really great to sit alongside both Jessica and Nicole and yourself in this session. I think to answer the first part of the question about the best employee experience, our goal is at Freedom is to be a great place to work. That's what we're really striving for. And we understand that it's important to reach all of our employees at every shop and location across Australia and New Zealand. I think it's important to understand a little bit about Freedom. So Freedom has and is on a significant change trajectory. And one of the first strategic intents that we had was to recognize in order for us to become a great place to work and to change the freedom for tomorrow, we really needed a communication platform that would empower and engage our people. And so our first stop, I guess, in terms of the change was to really bring to life that, and we did that through Workplace by Meta, which has been an exciting opportunity for us. Freedom has an always on change agenda, and it's really important that as part of seeking change that we communicate with our people. They not only hear from us about what we're working on, but we receive information back from them and understand what it is we're doing great, what do we need to do differently, what have we forgotten to do that we should be doing. And those initiatives really form the path of change that we have going forward.
Sounds amazing. And I know that change is really important to you. So let's unpack that a little bit more. When you started out with Workplace, it was all about, number one, connecting your people, and then also giving your people access to the right information and the right platform in order to participate. Looking back on that, what are the initiatives and stats that you are most proud of?
Well, the first one is, I think most people would remember the old school days where you had a memo that was emailed to you, you needed to print it off and you needed to initial it to understood that you have read it, and it gets passed around and someone slops their coffee on it, or it gets lost in an in tray somewhere. So really our first achievement is to have a platform where that's no longer required, that we are communicating to people in real time, and we're listening and we're hearing from them as well. So when we decided to move forward with Workplace, we rolled it out pretty fast. We looked at a 4-week turnaround from the moment we decided to commit to the platform to sending it live. And I think one of the most important aspects we had was a very compelling reason for people to claim their accounts and become part of the platform. So at the same time as we were working towards launching Workplace, we were also rebranding Freedom. And we used that compelling reason to launch Workplace to our people. So we had a claim rate of 99% over that 4-week period post-rollout. And we had a reach and continue to have a reach of 95%. And we have a monthly activity rate of 92%, which are just phenomenal when you talk about over 1,000 employees across Australia and New Zealand. And when we sent Workplace live, via a live with our CEO at Caringbah store and launching the new Freedom brand, we had over 300, I think close to 300 people join the live. And then it had been seen over 1,000 times since then. So I think one of the proudest moments was no more memos with signatures, the ability to communicate immediacy and then receive information back. And the stats that we continue to really hit those benchmarks well above the 90s is great. So it tells us that people want to hear from Freedom. And it also tells us that they've found a very psychological safe space to be able to talk to us.
Yeah, Natalia, I know that, in terms of that psychological safety and making people feel welcome, especially when you're a new starter and you're not really quite sure, you jump onto a platform like Workplace. Tell me about the Fresh Eyes group. How did you come up with that idea? How important has that been? Yeah, walk me through it.
Yeah, I think that's actually an initiative that was really driven in part from our CEO, Blaine Callard, and I. So we recognise that a set of fresh eyes in the business has really valuable feedback. And so when you're coming into Freedom, you can see the good, the bad and the ugly, and you've probably got a lot of questions as to why we do things the way we do and why don't we look at doing them differently. So we created a group within Workplace, which we called Fresh Eyes. And we injected, for want of a better word, our new starters that have been with us from 0 to 6 months into that particular group, where we gave them a safe space to communicate with Blaine and myself around what they're seeing that's great, what they're seeing that's not so great, answering questions around why we're doing some of the things that we do. And it was a really eye-opening fresh eye group for the senior leadership team to understand really what's happening when new employees start, not only in stores, but also at support centre or in our warehouses across Australia and New Zealand. The immediacy of feedback is really empowering. And we really look to our people to understand how we can better be a company that they want to be working with. So, really driving our great place to work philosophy.
Yeah, and I love the idea of that collecting insights from the fringe, right? It's the people who are the experts. They're talking to your customers every single day. I know that you touched briefly on Natalia, the ability to ask and crowdsource and ask those open questions. I know that that's a formal way of doing it, but I know that Blaine also has a bit of a knack for the informal ask. Can you tell
Yeah.
me about any examples you've seen of that?
Yeah, look, Blaine is an avid user and advocate for Workplace. So you'll see him on there constantly. And it's really refreshing for anyone in the business to have direct access to the CEO. So that doesn't happen very often. And you say learning from the fringe, and that's really important for Freedom. There's a strategist, Gary Hamel, who talks about strategy isn't from the top down, but it's built from the ground up. And he talks about learning from the fringe. So taking those insights and bringing them together and forming your strategy from that. So that's really how Fresh Eyes started. But it's also how we really crowdsource feedback with immediacy. And, you know, there's a couple of great examples. I was with dinner at, I think with yourself, Kate, and Blaine posted on Workplace. So what is the single biggest thing that Freedom needs to focus on in the next 12 months? And within hours, and it was after hours, it wasn't during 9 to 5, but within hours, we had so many comments and ideas and feedback that was really, I'm going to say, precious to the business, because that intel is gold. It's absolute gold. And so using Workplace in that fashion has worked really well for us. And I like Blaine's and commentary when he talks about, we talk to our people, but we also listen, and they hear us, and we know that they know that we are listening in return.
Yeah, and it's also about, it gives Blaine and other senior leaders the ability to really showcase who they are and be more approachable and relatable and you know, I think more authentic. And we will see that, you know, become a really common thread, you know, post-pandemic, is that people want to hear from their leaders. They want to know them, and they want to be able to see them. So I think that Blaine does a really, really great job of that. So Natalia, looking forward, I know that you are taking what you've done and really trying to double down on that. So now that you've got everyone sort of connecting and feeling psychologically safe, I know that your focus is on better learning and really removing some of those friction points out of the employee experience. So tell me, what does Freedom or Workplace at Freedom look like at 2022 and beyond? And what are your key initiatives that you'll be trying to implement?
Yeah, that's a really good question, because we have the community, we have the connection, we have the collaboration, we've got the engagement. So how do we really take Workplace to the next level for our business? And I think that lies in information, and I think that lies in learning. So some of the initiatives that we've really doubled down on, to use your language, has been around the use of the knowledge library and how we build our information, policies, access to forms or whatever a person needs in their day-to-day roles to do their job, is all now being built out in our knowledge library. And I think to complement that, the people and transformation team have built a bot within Workplace, and that bot's called Pi. Pi is a lovely lass, PHI, and it stands for People, Help and Information. And so we launched that to the business to support all of the people questions that our employees might have. And so they access Pi through the work chat. She responds, they ask a question, and Pi points them in the right direction. Or if Pi is unable to help them or answer that particular question, it generates an email through to the people and transformation team, so then they can support the employee with their answer. But the thing I love the most is this self-serving philosophy and this crowdsourcing ability to get the answer. So we have 1,000 experts in our business, and now 1,000 experts can respond. And Pi also tells us what she can't answer, so we can then go behind the scenes and make sure we have that information available. I think the last bit, which is super exciting for Freedom, is around online learning and e-learning. And our stats show that 95% of our team access workplace through their handheld device, not necessarily through a laptop. So we wanted a mechanism that we can help generate training that is A, required, or B, of interest to our people through their handheld devices. So we're currently working with WorkChat and a learning management system provider to generate and access dedicated learning for all of our staff through Workplace itself. So there's quite a few initiatives in flight, but they're all pretty exciting.
Yeah, it sounds like you've got a lot on, but I know that, you know, a lot of those wins I am experiencing firsthand in working with you. And yeah, I just, you know, it's magical, right? For your people is having the right information and having access from their phones, because we know that people don't work that way. Well, not everyone works that way. So Natalia, thank you for sharing. I know that everyone in the audience will absolutely take a lot of inspiration from not only where you've been, but where you're going, and please keep us posted. I'll move on now. Thanks, Natalia. I'll move on now to Nicole. Nicole, like Natalia, you've also had a crazy 2 years. We're all in the hospitality and retail space. And with that, you've been considered essential workers, which of course put you and your teams really at the forefront of the pandemic and all of the challenges that we know that has come with that. How important has it been for you as a business to show empathy to your people and make sure that they have the access to the right information that they need during such challenging time?
Okay. Yeah, look, it has been a difficult time, I think, for everybody. And, you know, Harris Farm Markets, we provide fresh food to the communities that we operate in, which meant that, you know, a large majority of our employees, you know, approximately 2,500 at the time, continued to work either in retail stores or warehouses or in online. And we actually saw business increase during that period. So it put a lot of strain on people. And look, we funnily enough, just as the pandemic was starting, we'd made the decision to bring on Workplace as a comms platform, because we couldn't communicate effectively with our existing team. We probably could only connect to about 150 of those employees through you know, work emails, and then we were reliant on apps like WhatsApp, which wasn't great, and you know, the phone to contact people, and it was all very one-way traffic. So we really wanted to find a way that we could connect to all of our people and they could talk to us in real time and instantly. We also found, obviously, I mean, some of our workers' support functions went into lockdown as well. So we really needed to keep those teams feeling connected and supported. So we really found by implementing this, it helped us do that. We were able to basically, you know, share posts, do live Q&As with our employees and connect directly. We're a family-owned business, so also create that connection back to, you know, the three CEOs, the brothers and mum and dad, David and Kathy. And they could even have, we did live Q&As, for example, when we had a COVID case in one of our stores and we had some junior workers, and you know, there were concerns amongst the parents. What does this mean for my child? What are the steps? So we immediately organised that for that evening, and you know, we're able to keep them informed and updated. So it really has been an invaluable tool for us. We now can connect to our teams directly. We've got similar, a little bit lower than Natalia, but we've got an 80% claim rate for January, and you know, we have about 86% of those are active weekly. 79% are on mobile devices. So, you know, you can see the vast majority of our workforce are on the front line. And I feel like it's really helped to bring a strong community across the business. You know, our company values are about the greater goodness, as you can see from behind me. And that means, you know, for the good of the community and each other. So we really wanted to find a way to look after our people, and we felt, you know, providing support, communication, information through that stressful time was the best way we could do that. We also wanted to, you know, I mean, it was quite a challenging period. So not only were we sharing critical information on what to do, you know, with a case in store, or if you work with a colleague who tested positive for COVID, we were also able to do some fun stuff to bring some light, you know. So we did competitions on displays. We even did a daft TikTok competition, which was launched by the leadership team. We all got dressed up in stupid outfits and then challenged people to do the same, just to have a bit of fun, you know. So yeah,
and I like that balance, Nicole, between, you know, the serious information. You know, it's not easy to be, you know, dealing with customers, to have your own health and safety not at risk, but, you know, we can probably be real about it and say that you are, you know, at risk more so than the average of us working at home. And then having fun. And I love the ideas of the TikToks and really humanizing your leaders. I know that you did you do gifts for turning up and kind of celebrating, you know, who we are and what we do and why it's important to show up to work every day?
Yeah, look, the family, when we reached financial year end, you know, being in fresh food retailing, all the restaurants closed. And what that basically meant was more people were eating at home. So for us, we were trading like it was Christmas week for a prolonged period. And it was tough. It was, you know, and obviously quite challenging for a lot of people. So, you know, we did well. And the family really wanted to share that and thank everybody for you know, I guess coming out when it must have been quite scary for them, and, you know, being enthusiastic, being kind to each other, being friendly and providing great service throughout that. So they posted a thank you, and we provided gifts, financial gifts for everybody in the business. Yeah, so we've done things like that as well. You know, you want people to feel valued, supported, and safe, I guess, is what we were looking to do.
Absolutely. And I know Natalia and Jess, you'll probably, you know, I can see you nodding there and going, yes, we absolutely felt the same way. What did that look like for you, if you're happy to share?
I think for us, there was a period of time that retail was locked down, unlike, because we're not food and we're not essential service. So no, I can honestly relate to what Nicole's saying, that your employees are going through a pandemic with you and their family, and the level of uncertainty, and that even through that, to show up, right, and to show up and care, and to show up and care and deliver, I think is quite phenomenal, and really talks to the resilience of our teams across all the brands.
Yeah, absolutely. And for us, I guess, Kate, we share a lot of synergies, even though we're very different brands. We share a lot of synergies in the way Workplace has worked in our business. But I guess we had periods of different lockdowns in different states, but being able to receive messages of support from different states, directed to different states at different times, was just lovely. You know, we'd have people standing up with, you know, we're with you signs, you're not alone. And I think that just, it gives me all the feels, but like, I think that just speaks to the nature of what Workplace can do. It can really bring people together in a sense of community.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the mental health and well-being, you know, that we're going to not only we had to deal with in the last 2 years, and just like you say with the signs, there's so much that I know all three of you have done to really, you know, make that top of mind and make your people feel seen and heard and valued, as you said, Nicole. Bringing it back to that health and well-being idea, Nicole, I know you've got a lot on the agenda for 2022 and beyond. I know that things like those competitions will still continue, and that having sense of fun will still continue. But what else are you looking to achieve, Nicole, on Workplace, but also from a business perspective?
Yeah, look, we did actually, funnily enough, we were during that period as well, looking at reassessing and refreshing the company values. So, and we've started, you know, to use the platform to really embed that through our business, and the plan going forward is to really develop more of a comms plan to continue to build on that. But we also want to do a lot more work around rewards and recognition. We want to use it. We started using it for training anyway through the pandemic, because obviously we couldn't do face-to-face training, so we will be pushed to, and look, our workforce generally is not, we're not sat behind a desk, so it's quite different for them to be able to do that. So we've had to adapt, but we've been using Workplace for that, and it's really about continuing to build that sense of community. We'll work with people that maybe are not so tech savvy and try and help them to how to use the tool. Really want to grow the organic use of it and get people more comfortable. Maybe, you know, the certain demographics within our workplace that aren't great on platforms like this, helping them to be able to post and feel comfortable using it. Again, we are building out the knowledge library a bit like Natalia, and that's becoming more so our intranet, because it can be accessed by all at any time, which is fantastic. Yeah, and I think that'll kind of cover us for the next year. A lot of work and campaigns on safety and well-being as well. You know, on mental health, I think is obviously going to be an ongoing and big sort of topic for the coming years, because we're certainly, although COVID seems to be dissipating, I think the hangover from that will carry on for a good few years. So yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I can see the others nodding as well. You know, we all know that we are going to, you know, to have to strike this balance between investing in our people, making their lives easier, and, you know, and really, you know, having them turn up and do what they do. And I think a big part of that is having them, as you said, Nicole, feel like they're part of something bigger. You know, that vision and that mission of what you're trying to do at Harris Farm Markets, at Freedom, at Minor DKL Coffee Club. You know, if people connect with what you do and they connect with your leaders, I think that's really important, but can still, you know, be themselves and have fun and participate in the competition, and, you know, do a TikTok if they need to, you know.
Or even do their own things. They have even done their own little competitions between each other for displays and bouquets, and it's kind of nice, you know. That's the sort of thing I'd love to see more of. So
yeah. And do you feel like, you know, you said competitions of displays and things like that, do you feel like that is really central to their well-being, you know, in showing off and celebrating the wonderful things that they bring to your organization?
Yeah, I've noticed in our business, we've got some very creative and talented people, and they're always the posts that get the most traction and most visibility. And also you find with it as well that they get recognised from their colleagues, from peers, it's the widest reach in terms of what appeals to the greater workforce, really. But I guess that's kind of, you know, it is part of our business and our how we do things. That's the point of difference between, I guess, us and you know, maybe other fresh food retailers, is we do like to have fun with our displays. We do like to be creative. We like to do that because, you know, again, one of our culture and values is about being more market than supermarket. So it's really creating a shopping experience for customers that brings them joy and delight and excites them. And part of that is, you know, having fun with an Easter display, and having fun with say we've got a Mexican push or something. Do you know what I mean? It's all about that. We're also doing a bit of a comp with staff where we're asking them to do their own sort of favorite recipes, and we're contemplating, depending on how well it goes, we might even do a staff cookbook. You know, wow. Passion for food.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I will definitely be buying that because I need all the help I can get in that area. So yeah, I hope to see it. That'll be awesome. Be really good. Well, I love that, Nicole. You know, it's great to hear about, you know, how we're having fun and how we're having, you know, building a sense of investing in our people and their well-being. So I think it's a real credit to you as a family business to be so in tune around what your people need and how they feel, and really responding to that is really important. So yeah, definitely something to be really proud of. Thanks, Nicole. All right, let's hear from Jess. Jess, we know that Minor DKL's brand on Workplace is the coffee club. And with that in mind, we know that your business is largely franchise based. How have you found that Workplace has helped to really give your franchisees a voice and made them feel connected, empowered, and ultimately valuable?
Yeah, Kate, you're right. We're predominantly franchised based, and similar to the hearing the other ladies speak about their businesses, I guess for us, we recognize that when our franchisees are engaged with our brand and our vision and what we're trying to achieve, the better the customer experience is in store. So that was kind of the real key for us. With Workplace, it really also gave us a chance to really humanize our senior leadership team, and especially our CEO, who, like Natalia said, with her CEO, Nick Bryden, is very a huge advocate of Workplace and always on, but he runs fortnightly CEO updates. And essentially it gives our franchisees a chance to vote on different topics that they'd like Nick to speak to, but also gives them a chance to have fortnightly touch points with our CEO, which is fantastic, and not we weren't able to do that previously. But it gives them a chance to be really heard. So, you know, the tough questions come out, and it's great. And Nick loves it because it gives us a real opportunity to speak to some of the questions we wouldn't have necessarily heard previously, which is fantastic. And I guess we speak to our franchisees, and then we speak to our team members or our frontline workers, which a lot of the time previous to Workplace, the information was sort of getting to our franchisees, and it was finding it hard to sort of trickle down to the front line. Now we have instant access, and like the other lady said, like our network is predominantly deskless, but really we didn't want them to be voiceless. We wanted them to be connected, especially in the last 2 years that we've sort of lived through.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's really important, right, to be able to, you know, rely on cascading, but where appropriate, you know, having the franchisee voice in there as well as your team member voice in there is really, really important from an organization perspective, to be able to reach both and give them different messages. And I know, Jess, you have lots of ways that you're going to do that. So I'll hold off on that until a little bit later on. But let's talk about our team members. They are the ones that are serving our customers. And I know that the customer experience is really important to you, like everyone. But is there anything that surprises you or has surprised you about the way that your team members are using Workplace? What are some highlights?
I think what constantly surprises me is the resilience shown by the network, and also the stories that we find within our people. I guess we always knew they had fantastic stories, and you know, we love the brand and we love hearing about them, but we just never got to hear them before. And during a time of, you know, isolation and stand downs and store closures, Workplace has really been the glue that's held our TCC family together, and our community together. I guess for us, our three main focuses were always information, obviously, and instant information, and you know, COVID updates and things like that. But engagement and connection were always really big. So we've actually been surprised with how connected people can get, and how we've been able to tease out best practice and ideas sharing through the network. And it's been fantastic because it really gives us a chance to lean on our people to educate each other, which is great. We've also quite surprisingly found some dishes for our menu from Workplace. We ran a good food competition, and there was different rounds, and our chefs and our cooks went through the different rounds of competition until the finals, where the finalists presented dishes that they created themselves, and we actually put our vegan flat grill on the menu, which is fantastic. But something like that we would have never come across without Workplace. I guess it really shows, it really speaks to the ability to gather these insights from the fringe, I guess, Natalia.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And how special is that, Jess? You know, for one of your team members to walk into their store or to walk into any coffee club, you know, and see, mum and dad or whoever it is, partners, I helped to put that on the menu, and that's my menu item, and how rewarding for them to be recognized in that way. I think that's, you know, so special for everyone. And I think incredible. It speaks. Sorry, Jess, you go.
No, I agree with you, Katie. I think it's incredible, and the sense of pride that people get from posting a great idea on Workplace, and then others, you know, jumping on and saying that's so great, you know, and then us saying, oh yeah, okay, well, we're going to take this on board, and we're actually going to change our processes to do that because it's a fantastic idea. It's a huge sense of pride that people get from that.
Yeah, and as you said, really actioning that feedback. You know, you're not just going to have a voice and we're going to entertain it and move on. We're actually going to make action on that. And Natalia, for you, that is your Fresh Eyes group, or your questions that Blaine asks, and he goes, yep, that's what we need to do, and developing the products. For Jess, you know, that's that menu innovation that you're never going to get if you leave it to a few people in HQ. And Nicole, you know, that sense of what do you need to feel safe in this scenario? What's the information that you need? And really hearing and listening to our people is really, really important. So I love how you all are really actioning that feedback in such different ways. But, you know, it just shows that, you know, if you give the people a voice, they're able to use it, and you're able to use it for good as well. So just tell me what the future looks like. What are you most looking forward to? And what are the key things in terms of initiatives that you're looking to roll out?
It's probably two main key initiatives for us. I guess, Kate, our campaigns are quite intricate, and they're very cross-functional. So a lot of the different functions within the business have a message to deliver at different times of the campaign pre-launch period. So that's why we're really excited about the campaigns bot. We just see that, you know, a lot of work goes into communications plan around a campaign launch, but the campaigns bot would allow us to not only automate those messages, but also be able to target specific people with different messages. So for example, if we wanted to go quite regional with a message and speak to a specific team member or franchisee within a region, we could do that with the campaigns bot. And it's a bit of a set and forget for us, and that's what we love about it. And then I guess secondly, there's not too many platforms that you can put into a business where it not only helps with internal best sharing of ideas and practice, but it also helps to build a consumer facing campaign. And Workplace has really done that for us. I guess we're really excited about embarking on a new campaign that talks to our coffee and also our local stories. So really highlighting our local franchisees, our local baristas. Everyone's got a great relationship with their barista, but really being able to tell those stories from that happen every day in store. And previous, obviously, I keep saying previous to Workplace, but it's like there was a time before Workplace and then there was a time after Workplace, but now we do have Workplace. We can really get those beautiful stories from the network, highlight them, and then push them out in the consumer land, and that really builds great brand connection, but it also shares best practice within the network and really celebrates the people that we have. So it's really doing two jobs for us. It's fantastic.
Yeah, and I think just on that point, creating that sense of pride, showcasing the wonderful people that are working for you. I know that you are looking to have a local campaign, both external and internal, this year. What does that look like? And tell me your reason why and what you're trying to achieve with that.
An example of, I guess, what that looks like is we're coming up to World Barista Day on the 1st of March, and we've called to the network to profile their baristas. And we've actually received quite a lot. We've got close to 45 different profiles from across the business and different baristas, where they've sent in their photo and they've told us what makes them coffee obsessed and how they bring coffee obsession to life in their store. What we're doing is we're profiling them across the network, across Workplace, across the platform for a number of different months, in our coffee group, in our celebrating group, but we're also turning those into some beautiful social posts as well on our national Facebook page and Instagram page, and then we're actually going to visit them in store and capture some really beautiful videos that we can seed out as well.
Yeah, I love that, and how special for those people to be involved in that. Just to wrap up, what do you think, and we'll go to questions in a second as well, guys, so keep them coming through, but what do you think is, from the last 2 years, what's your biggest learning? What would you say to yourself to do differently or better? But also what it has meant to your people. What's your biggest takeout there?
I guess, and I reiterating what the ladies have said previously, it is a fundamental shift in the way we communicate. For the last 32 years, we've been printing out memos and emailing, and we no longer do that. But it also gives us a chance to really listen to our people and really, like you said, action that feedback. It's one thing hearing it, but actually putting it into action will ensure that the network stays engaged. And I suppose in terms of what sort of learnings we've had is really just trusting that the platform will deliver what you're hoping it will. I guess when we first launched, we were very worried about whether we're going to get engagement or whether we were going to get negative comments, and we very quickly realized that the Workplace platform is actually just a huge community, and we've built what we call this TCC family that has sheltered us, supported our people, but also really given us two-way conversations that we never would have had before. So really trust the platform will deliver that for you, but also be a bit creative in the way you're driving that engagement. We've clearly got very different target audiences on our platform, so we speak very differently to them, and different things will appeal to different audiences. So just think about it like that, I suppose.
Yeah, and I'd love to invite, because I know we've all got different demographics and different, we've got geographically diverse teams. Natalia and Nicole, I'd love to invite you to, add your thoughts on that one as well. What's your biggest learning?
Sure, I'll go. My biggest learning is to not underestimate how much your people want access to you and to be able to speak to you through trust and transparency and straight talk. I think, you touched on it, Jess, when you said, do we worry about what people comment or not comment? I think trusting that your employees use the platform to empower, to innovate, to be dynamic and responsive. And I don't underestimate the power of that, because it's been significant.
Yeah, and leaning into that. And Nicole?
Yeah, I'd agree with that, actually. With everything that they both said, really, I can't really add any more.
+1 to everything, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's the main point, is is around that it is a fundamentally human experience, what we've been through, where we're going to go. And if you can give people a human tool to kind of not only be there but connect, I guess, life is way too short to spend all your time at work without, feeling valued. And, I guess as well, building on the point of, even when there is negative feedback, it's saying, okay, how can we address that? Why are they feeling this way? How can we as leaders show that we are listening? I know that we've been really, talking around what that looks like and how, that really was surprising that people didn't really come across like that. I know we've had lots of magic moments, but guys, I'd love to hear, do you have one standout magic moment? I know that we have spoken about a few, but tell me, what is that magic moment that stands out to you? I put you on the spot.
Yeah, you are. It's fine. I think it's hard because there's been many, right? And all are magical for all very different reasons. I think, just touching back on the previous question, I don't underestimate the reach that you have. So you've got an employee who's frontline, who works part-time on a Saturday or Sunday morning from 8 till 12. You are talking to that individual and they're hearing what you have to say, and they can talk back and you can listen. So I think don't underestimate the reach that you have with the workforce that is there. I think goosebump moments for me is around the engagement and the collaboration on the site. Pandemic and COVID. What was the word that was sent around that was used constantly when this started was it's unprecedented. And the moments that we had where we rallied around different states, different stores, different individuals, welcoming them back out of, I think it was 111 days, the first lockdown in Victoria. And there was unorchestrated welcome back, Vic, from around the country and New Zealand. And I think that was the most memorable moment, or one of them, because it wasn't done or wasn't intended, it wasn't pushed set of information. It was actually a moment in time where everyone decided this is a great thing to do, and to welcome our team out of 111 days was pretty powerful.
I agree with Natalia. I think there's so many points along our journey that just give you goosebumps, and you just think, wow, I'm so glad we're doing this. I'm so glad we have this tool. And the sense of pride you have in your people and your brand is incredible. I probably, my goosebump moments would be similar to Natalia's, where it's unorchestrated. You're not expecting this beautiful message of support to come from one state to another, or from the entire network to one person, and that's really special.
I completely agree with that. I mean, we've had some great moments with the planned sort of things that we've done, but the most joy I get out of it is when you see the team actually doing stuff themselves. We've got for example, there was one of our shop assistants who works in our flower department, decided to put a little training video on herself, and it was fantastic, on how to create a really lovely bouquet for Mother's Day. And it's those little gems like that where they're sharing stuff without you asking, and the interaction then between the rest of the team, or like you say, the messages of support that come through for each other and stuff like that. It's really, really rather touching.
Yeah. And it doesn't. Sorry.
No, you're right.
Sorry, I was going to add to that, and I think we talked about moments that gave you goosebumps, which were around the pandemic and COVID and the organic interaction that happened. I think for me, there was another moment, which was where we relaunched the freedom values through Workplace, and everyone picked a value that resonated with them. and then they posted about that value and what it means to them and why it resonates and why they live by it. So again, it wasn't about, here are a set of values for freedom and you just need to come along for the ride. This actually means something to me, and this is what it means to me, and I'm going to tell you all about it because I'm super proud about that. And I think that was also quite a cool moment.
Yeah, you're giving me goosebumps. Working with you all, I think that's our why. That's why we do what we do here at Enablo, and we love partnering with you all and making that happen. It is such an impact on your people. So yeah, we're really proud from an Enablo perspective to also join you on this journey, and to see all the magic moments happen is absolutely amazing. Thank you guys for sharing. Now, I might, with 10 minutes to go, open it up to the floor with some questions. I know we've had heaps coming through. So if I miss your question, please, I will come back to you. But we've got some really good ones coming through. Now, the first one is, how have you seen your culture change because of the impact of workplace? Open to anyone.
Right, grab this one. Yeah, as I said, we sort of took the opportunity to refresh our values and launch it as well whilst launching the platform. I don't know if it's necessarily changed. I think what we've seen is probably what we did was we decided to have a look at our business and say, what is the culture, and then find a way of communicating and articulating that. And then what we've seen is, I think people see more of an alignment with themselves now. They're like, yeah, that is 100% what it is like. And we're really seeing, it's very interesting. I think what it's helped to do is strengthen our culture. People feel like they belong to something, to a community group that have a shared purpose, shared values, shared understanding. So I'd say it's actually strengthened that sort of bond and connection that people have. And then going on to that, I do see Jonathan's put in there about retention, and it's interesting actually because our engagement surveys before we've seen employee engagement lift significantly since we've started communicating better with everybody and connecting people much better. We use the ENPS score, and we were sort of, I'm going to be very honest, we were sort of knocking around the -5 and minus numbers, and we last June we were sitting up at +26, and we're knocking around higher this time as well. So we've seen a dramatic uplift. Yeah, so it's using it in conjunction with other engagement tools helps, and improving communication definitely supports retention.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're absolutely spot on there. And, we've heard a lot about the Great Resignation, right? And so however we can help to really make our people feel like we want them here, we value them, and we see them is really important.
Yeah.
I was going to say it hasn't hurt it. Having workplace hasn't caused more people to resign. So I think that's an also positive. It's actually really hard to measure. And I think we're only can better measure that in the coming months and years as we go past. But in terms of has it helped? I don't think it's harmed it. And I think it is really only early stages to understand that.
Yeah, absolutely. We might go to Nicola's questions, because I know that I'm seeing some great feedback on it. But guys, how have you navigated rostered staff feeling like they use workplace in their personal time, or managers of these teams, saying my team, won't use it because it seems like an extra ask? How have you navigated it, and how have you, from a comms perspective, but also, HR and leadership perspective as well?
That's been a big one for us, I guess, because we've got the obviously our franchisees and then our team members in store. And like I said, there's sort of two different audiences for us. I guess the key was really getting our franchisees to see the value of workplace, because then that permeates through the entire team. So if the franchisees are active on the platform and they understand the value of it and they understand how exciting it can be to bring a team together, and they use it in their own store groups, that really then sets the tone for the entire store for us. So I guess if you can crack the leader in the store, then the team will just follow. That's kind of the focus. That was the focus for us.
Do you have anything to add, Natalia? Sorry,
Yeah,
you're probably
so
finding the unmute button.
I'm trying to find, I want to say FOMO, fear of missing out, right? I think that's a really big engagement strategy, because lots of people hear and see, oh, did you see this on what I posted this on, I did this, and it's like, I'm missing out on this. What am I missing out on? And so coupled with that, I think it's important how you structure your groups on Workplace, and that maybe you find a structure that suits your staff, i.e. maybe a location group that's just people in your location where they feel safe enough to engage and post, and not necessarily a national group to engage with. So I think there's some tweaks that you could do in how you structure your platform to support people who may be hesitant. And then there are people who work for us that have no social media experience and really don't know what it means to be part of that kind of community. So I think that's a learning for us, and it takes patience, and it talks about how do we bring them along for the ride.
Yeah, and I know that there is a question around, from Crystal, thank you, Crystal, around engagement from the get-go and whether they were engaged from the get-go. But Natalia, you talked around FOMO and how we create that in the launch process. Do you want to expand, or does anyone want to expand a little bit on that, just to give Crystal a view on what are the types of things we did?
Yeah, happy to go again. Jess and Nicole, jump in, please. So for us, I spoke to a compelling reason to join, and that was at the time we launched the new brand. It was the time we launched the Workplace platform, and our compelling reason was our CEO and our general manager for marketing and our general manager of retail were live in one of our stores, and they went live for just over 38 minutes, I think it was, where they took us through, spoke to the staff at the stores, looked at the new brand, looked at the new product injection, the range, what we're trying to achieve, what's different about the freedom of tomorrow versus the freedom of yesterday. And that's hearing it firsthand from the senior leaders. And that was a really engaging piece of work that we had that brought people in and wanted to be part of that.
I think it's also just thinking about what would engage that type of audience, and just, sometimes, and I think Nicole mentioned this, it's just sometimes it's not about the serious business updates, it's more about the fun and the special interest groups that you have, because if you can foster that psychological safety, and they feel safe enough to be able to react and then comment and then build up to posting, that engagement then will lift. You just have to talk to them with something that would engage them. That's the tricky bit.
Exactly. It's finding out. It's exactly that, finding out what engages them. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, I have time for one more question before we close out, and I could literally sit here and talk to you all day, every day. But as leaders in the digital employee experience and people and culture space, what do you see the trends being? I know we've spoken about well-being, we've spoken about learning, but do you think that they are the trends, or are there any more that you would add in terms of the next 5-10 years?
I guess the world has shifted, and how we interact with the world and how we interact with each other has changed dramatically. So instant communications is just a given, but I guess just that sense of connection continues. So people will always want to feel connected to something bigger. And for us, I guess that it really broadened our world. So people, obviously we're connected within their store, but now they have the opportunity to talk to other people within different stores that they've never spoken to before, never even thought of. So suddenly your world has grown. So really harnessing that sense of being part of something bigger and really nurturing that is sort of a trend that we're seeing.
Yeah, absolutely. Natalia, what do you think?
I agree. I talk about connection, collaboration. I talk about community and communication are all fundamental in what needs to, what our people need from the business going forward. I think that our level of flexibility in some of our workplace environments is very much a hot topic at the moment, and platforms that such as what we're using with Workplace and Communicating can only enable that and support that. And I think, you know, really the future is about being dynamic. We can't stand still. I think we're constantly evolving, and we really need to grab adversity with two hands and move forward.
Agree, completely agree. And Nicole? Sorry, Jess.
Yeah, I agree. It's about connecting, keeping that connection and community. I mean, we're growing as well as just for us as a business anyway. And, you know, as we do that, it's harder for people to feel connected to something. So this platform really, it will help us maintain that. I think it's, that's kind of the EVP for our team, isn't it? The value proposition is, well, who are we? What are we about? You know, what are our values? And then you're part of something. Yeah,
part of something bigger.
Yeah.
And on that note, we are 1 minute past, so I am going to wrap it up there. But guys, if we didn't get to your questions today, we will come back to you. So rest assured, you will be able to get all the advice that you need. Thank you to our wonderful panelists, our wonderful speakers today. You're all absolutely amazing. And as I said, I could really sit here all day and listen to you talk around, you know, just how much you care about your people, which is really, really special. For the audience, thank you so much for joining us today. Again, we really appreciate you coming. We hope that you found it really helpful and valuable. And of course, you know, please connect with us, you know, if you have any further questions or want to chat more. Of course, you can always go to enablo.com and fill in the contact form if you want to hear from us as well. So please don't hesitate, get in touch. We are here to continue these discussions. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Thank you to the team on the call, and we'll see you very soon.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Kate.
Thanks, Kate.
Thanks, Jess. Thanks, Nicole.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Lovely to see you all again.
We'll see you soon.
All right, take care. Bye.
Thanks, guys. Bye.